There is a law so precise, so accurate, so unfailing, that when once understood and applied, it renders all confusion powerless. This law is your silent servant, your invisible partner, your eternal supplier. It is the top secret of the ages, hidden in plain sight, waiting only for your recognition, not through struggle, not through force, not through weary striving, but through alignment with the invisible. This top secret is not buried in some distant desert or locked behind vaults of steel. It is within you, closer than breath, nearer than hands or feet. It is the law that thoughts are things, and what you hold in consciousness, whether joy or fear, wealth or lack, must externalize in your world. There is no delay in spiritual law. The moment you believe it, you receive it. The moment you align, doors swing wide without effort. The world is clamoring for secrets, codes, shortcuts, hidden formulas to success. But the secret is older than time and simpler than breath. Whatever you prepare for, you attract. If you prepare for lack, it must appear. If you prepare for abundance, it comes without fail. There is no one to convince, no circumstance to persuade. The secret works in the dark as in the light. It is always listening, always mirroring, always creating what you secretly believe. Many cry, but I have prayed, I have begged, and still my good has not come. But there is no begging in this law. There is only knowing. You cannot cry your way into abundance, but you can claim your way into it. You cannot worry yourself into peace, but you can speak your way into it. The tongue holds the key to the storehouse, for words are the carriers of power. Words are seeds, and the harvest cannot be escaped. Declare it now. All that is mine by divine right is now released to me in perfect ways. That is no idle sentence. That is a spiritual command. The universe rushes to obey one who knows their authority. When you speak from fear, you multiply trouble. But when you speak from power, even mountains crumble. The invisible substance is molded by your beliefs. Mold it wisely. Your only task is to hold the picture and walk the path. Do not look back to the land of shadows, where doubt and delay dwell. Every time you speak of delay, you invite more. Every time you say, nothing is working, the law agrees, but the moment you declare, everything is unfolding in divine timing, you realign. Speak not of how long it takes. Speak only of what is already yours by divine right. This top secret cannot be bought, cannot be stolen, cannot be sold. It is only revealed to the inner self that dares to trust the unseen. Faith is the password, vision is the key, gratitude is the gate, and speech is the power that activates it all. There are no victims in spiritual law, only those who have forgotten their dominion. But the moment you remember who you are, a spiritual being with spiritual authority, chains break, doors open, and rivers flow in deserts. Never say, I cannot afford it. Say, it is not yet in my visible supply, but it is already mine in substance, and it appears now in perfect ways. Never say, I always fail. Say, every door that closed was protection. The right one swings open now by divine design. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are the master of your fate because you are the sower of your thoughts. Sow powerfully, speak faithfully, expect joyfully. Life is not happening to you. It is happening through you. Nothing is denied to the soul who knows. This is the secret the world calls foolishness, but the wise know its value is beyond rubies. You do not need to hustle for what is already yours. You do not need to fight for what is divinely assigned. All you must do is clear the inner clutter, eliminate doubt, uproot fear, speak what you want, not what you dread. The wealth you seek is seeking you. The opportunity you desire is desiring you. The healing you pray for is already yours, but you must stop praying as one who lacks and start declaring as one who owns. No more delay, no more hesitation, no more double-mindedness. The word you speak today creates your tomorrow, and the top secret is you have always been creating, whether you knew it or not. The secret power that changes everything is not far away, not hidden in a mountain, not locked behind some sacred door only the few can find. It is within you, waiting, listening, responding. It hears the quiet whisper of your beliefs, the rhythm of your thoughts, the drumbeat of your words, and it obeys with unwavering precision. You are not disconnected from this power, for it is not separate from you. It is the very essence of your being, the invisible force that molds the visible world around you. When you believe yourself to be powerless, the world reflects that belief faithfully. When you remember that you are the one who speaks the word and moves the mountain obeys. This is not imagination, this is law, spiritual law, silent and supreme, never sleeping, never forgetting, never partial. It does not question your worth or your qualifications. It simply mirrors what you send into it. Every thought you think is a seed. Some thoughts are covered in faith, others cloaked in fear. But all seeds grow. This power does not choose between fear or faith. It nurtures both with the same force. It multiplies what you plant without judgment. That is why your life seems to repeat patterns. It is not fate, it is harvest. What was once a silent belief becomes a loud result. But now you are no longer blind to the process. You see clearly. You understand that nothing happens by chance. That which seemed like coincidence is the effect of a cause long forgotten, a thought once entertained, a word once spoken without care. The power within never forgets. It records all, it stores all, it manifests all. You cannot escape the law, but you can use it. You can become a master craftsman, directing this power with deliberate thought, disciplined word, and unwavering faith. You do not need permission to use it. You already are. Even in moments of despair, you are using the law. Even in panic, it is working. It never turns off. It is always on, always creating, always shaping. If you say, I am always broke, it says, yes, you are. If you say, nothing ever works out for me, it agrees. But if you say, I am divinely supplied, even when appearances scream otherwise, it gets to work. It begins rearranging, redirecting, breaking down the old and building up the new. You may not see it at once, but it is already in motion. The world you walk through today was formed by the thoughts you dwelt on yesterday. It is not punishment, it is reflection. The secret power within is your mirror, always showing you where your inner attention lies. Look around, not with blame, but with awareness. Trace every condition back to the invisible blueprint. Ask, what belief did I plant that could have built this? Then begin planting anew. You are never trapped. You are never too far gone. Because the moment you change the cause, the effect must also change. That is the safety and the certainty of spiritual law. It is not swayed by emotion. It is moved by alignment. When your inner world shifts, the outer cannot help but follow. This is why worry is wasted energy. Worry is prayer in reverse. It charges your fear with power. It fuels the very outcome you dread. And yet, this power within is so generous, so immediate, that it will even deliver the fearful result if that is what you continue to expect. But what happens when you become intentional? What happens when you speak only what you desire, when you refuse to repeat the story of lack and instead affirm the reality of supply? The shift begins immediately. You may not feel it, you may not see it yet, but deep beneath the surface, the old roots are being loosened and the new ones are taking hold. There is no limit to what this power can do, for it operates from the infinite. It is not bound by what your senses perceive. It is not slowed down by time, space, or circumstance. It knows only the pattern you give it. If you give it patterns of struggle, it produces struggle. But if you begin to declare that your life is governed by divine order, that everything you need now rushes to meet you, that nothing can be withheld from you because it is already yours by divine design, then you unleash it to work on your behalf. The world may say, be realistic, but this power responds only to truth, not realism. And the truth is, you are not a beggar, You are a creator. You are not a victim. You are a vessel. You are not waiting for power. You are power, clothed in form, choosing daily what to energize with your mind. It is not arrogance to claim this power. It is obedience to divine law. You were never meant to crawl through life. You were born to rule over the world of conditions, not be ruled by them. You were born to speak the word and see the thing. But you must choose. You must wake up to your responsibility. The power is always at work, but now you must become conscious of how you use it. Begin to bless your world. Bless your finances, no matter how small. Bless your body, no matter how frail. Bless your relationships, no matter how broken. This act alone stirs the power into new motion, because whatever you bless increases. Whatever you curse diminishes. And every word, every thought, every feeling either blesses or curses. There is no middle ground. The power within you never argues. It does not debate. It simply moves into form the vibration you hold most consistently. This is why repetition matters. Not mechanical repetition, but vibrant repetition. Say the thing until your heart believes it. Say it until it echoes inside you louder than any doubt. Say it when the evidence is against you, and the evidence will bend. Say it when no one believes you, and the law will prove you. For nothing is more powerful than aligned word and unwavering expectation. This is not about magic, it is about mastery. You have been trained to look outward, to depend on conditions, to wait for something to change before you feel secure. But the secret power never flows from the outside in. It flows from the inside out. It does not need evidence to start moving. It only needs your agreement. You do not have to force results. You only have to assume them. The moment you assume that your good is already here, and you speak from that place of certainty, the law begins to conform. But speak from doubt, and it mirrors that as well. This is not punishment, it is perfection. The top secret is not found in books or philosophies, although it may be hinted at in many places. The secret is that you are already using the law every moment, with every thought, and now you must choose to use it consciously. The world is shaped not by the strong, not by the rich, not by the connected, but by the aware. The one who becomes aware of this inner power and uses it with divine intention is the one who walks through walls, who turns impossibilities into realities, who lives beyond limits and brings heaven into earth through the words spoken in faith. You are that one, not someday, now, not when you're more worthy, you already are, not when the outer looks ready, it never will until the inner says so, and so you begin. You speak the word and you refuse to contradict it. You sow the seed and you do not dig it up with worry. You plant faith and you water it with gratitude. You speak abundance and you silence every voice that says otherwise. You become single-eyed, unshaken, clear. And in that clarity, in that consistency, in that inner certainty, the power within begins to reveal itself in form. Doors open, delays vanish, ideas come, people appear, and not because you chased them, but because you aligned. The top secret was never outside you. It is you. You are the open channel through which the unseen becomes seen, through which the unformed becomes formed, through which the impossible becomes inevitable. What you prepare for in consciousness, you attract in reality. This is the law that governs all manifestation, the silent rule behind every appearance, every event, every so-called coincidence. Life is not responding to your wishes or your surface-level desires. It is responding to your inner preparation, your consistent vibration, the dominant feeling you cultivate in the unseen. You may speak of wealth, but if inwardly you prepare for lack, lack is what must appear. You may desire love, but if you prepare for abandonment, that is what walks through your door. The world outside only plays the roles your consciousness assigns to it. You are not at the mercy of life. Life is the reflection of your state of readiness. Preparation is not action in the outer world. It is not making more effort, not pushing and grinding to prove yourself. True preparation happens in the invisible. It is the act of mental alignment, emotional certainty, spiritual assumption. When you prepare inwardly for something, you make room for it. You expect it. You live as if it is already done. You remove resistance. You dismantle contradiction. You do not wait for evidence. You become the evidence. When someone prepares for guests, they tidy the house, set the table, light the candles. They do not do these things after the guests arrive, but before. So it is with divine manifestation. What you truly expect, you begin to make space for, and that space becomes the magnet that pulls it into form. Many people say they want abundance, but they live in fear of bills. They speak constantly of lack. They rehearse every shortage in detail. That is their preparation. That is what is being welcomed. The universe is not confused by your words. It listens to your preparation. What you feel most often is your prayer. What you anticipate is your command. You may not speak it aloud, but your inner state speaks it clearly. If you prepare for disappointment, you have unknowingly invited it. But if you prepare for miracles, even while storms rage around you, then miracles begin to move toward you with invisible feet. The preparation of consciousness requires discipline. It is not something that happens once, but something you practice like a musician rehearsing a song. You train your imagination to see what is not yet visible. You train your speech to agree with the reality you are calling in, not the illusion you are walking through. You do not say what the world wants you to say. You say what the law must obey. If you are preparing for wealth, you speak of wealth with confidence. You bless your current supply. You see your bank account with eyes of gratitude, not fear. You walk through the store not as one who counts coins, but as one who walks among possibilities. You do not lie, you align. You say what is spiritually true even when the facts are still forming. People prepare for what they believe is coming. This is why fear has such power, because it is a form of negative preparation. When someone imagines loss, they brace for it. They close off, they tense. Their vibration becomes dense and resistant. They are unknowingly saying, I expect this, I'm ready for it, I will make space for it. And the law, which has no favorites, responds without hesitation. But the moment you interrupt that pattern, the moment you say, I refuse to prepare for failure, I will prepare for triumph, everything changes. It may not change on the surface right away, but the shift is immediate in the invisible. You are no longer sending the signal of fear. You are broadcasting the frequency of fulfillment. Your preparation reveals your trust. If you truly trust that something is yours, you prepare for it joyfully. A bride prepares for her wedding not with anxiety, but with excitement. She does not doubt if the day will come. She knows it is set, and so she acts accordingly. That is the model for how one prepares in the spiritual realm. You do not beg for what is already yours. You do not ask repeatedly for what has already been granted. You prepare for it. You receive it in consciousness. You imagine it so clearly that your body relaxes. Your mind accepts. Your words reflect it. You are not faking it. You are foreseeing it. Even delays are often not denials, but the result of unready consciousness. The law cannot deliver to you what you have not made room for. If you ask for a house but keep rehearsing the story of homelessness, you are contradicting your own prayer. If you ask for opportunity but speak of how nothing ever works out for you, you are preparing for disappointment. Your inner dialogue must match your divine desire. There must be agreement between what you want and what you are ready to receive. You may fool people with words, but the law listens only to your frequency. Preparing in consciousness is the highest form of spiritual work. It is subtle. It is quiet. No one may know you're doing it, but inside, you are painting the picture. You are rehearsing the feeling. You are tuning your energy to the outcome. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual engineering. This is blueprinting in the mind what must later become bricks and mortar in the world. If you hold that picture long enough, faithfully enough, without interruption from doubt, then reality bends around it. The power of preparation also means you must be careful not to unconsciously prepare for what you do not want. Many prepare for being rejected by preparing their excuses. Many prepare for being poor by saying just in case. Many prepare for bad news by constantly checking for it. These acts are rituals of fear. They are rehearsals of scarcity, but you can interrupt them. You can say, I no longer prepare for lack. I prepare for lavishness. I prepare for open doors. I prepare for the sudden and the good. I prepare for the best. When you prepare for the best begins to seek you. Not because you manipulated it, but because you matched it. Everything you want is already in motion. But if you are preparing for the opposite, the law will not override your instruction. The universe is obedient. It is not emotional. It responds to authority, and your preparation is your proof of authority. When you prepare inwardly for more than what your senses show, you declare that the unseen is more real to you than the visible. That is faith, and faith is magnetic. You cannot prepare with one hand and contradict with the other. If you light the candles but then shut the door, how will the guests enter? You must remain consistent. Consistency is the sign that you are truly aligned. One moment of positive preparation is not enough if it is undone by hours of fear. The work is not in controlling the outer, but in mastering the inner. If you find yourself wavering, return again to the vision, repeat the declaration, speak the word, and prepare once more. Make preparation a daily practice. Begin each morning by asking, what am I preparing for today? Let your thoughts, your words, your posture, your emotions all answer that question. Prepare for peace by speaking peace. Prepare for success by seeing yourself already walking in it. Prepare for love by loving your present moment. Do not wait for proof. Become the proof, and as your preparation deepens, the law begins to deliver with greater speed and greater clarity. This is not theory. This is law, invisible, unwavering, responsive. The moment you begin to prepare in consciousness for what you have been praying for in words, your life begins to shift. The supply begins to gather. The path begins to form. The timing begins to coordinate. But it will only appear to the one who is truly ready. So get ready, make room, think thoughts that match your desire, use words that build bridges, not walls, keep only the beliefs that reflect your highest vision. And prepare, not with pressure, not with panic, but with peace. Let preparation become your new prayer, your new practice, your new power. Because everything you want is already on its way to the one who is ready to receive it. Words are not mere sounds or symbols. They are spiritual forces, unseen yet potent, vibrating with power, carrying the essence of the consciousness that speaks them. Words are seeds, and once spoken, they go forth into the invisible, plant themselves in the garden of universal substance, and begin their work of reproduction. Every word you have ever spoken has had its effect. Every careless phrase, every idle declaration, every complaint, and every blessing has gone forth with instruction to create after its kind. You may forget the words you speak, but spiritual law does not. It receives them, believes them, and builds them. The world you walk through today is constructed from the bricks of your yesterday's words. Some of those bricks were shaped in love, others in fear, others in ignorance. But all were accepted, all were given life. You may have spoken of delay, and now delay shows itself in your affairs. You may have said, nothing ever works out for me, and now you find it so. These are not accidents. They are harvests of the seeds you cast without noticing. But the moment you become aware, you reclaim your dominion. You become the master gardener of your own reality, choosing deliberately what shall grow and what shall never be spoken again. The universe does not distinguish between jokes and intentions, sarcasm, and seriousness. It hears vibration, not tone. It feels energy, not volume. You may say something in jest, but if it carries the vibration of fear or lack, the law responds accordingly. This is why the wise are slow to speak and swift to bless. They understand that the tongue is a tool of creation. It is not simply for communication, but for command. The moment you speak, you instruct the unseen to begin moving. Angels of alignment are dispatched. Invisible forces rally to obey. And the more powerfully you feel what you say, the faster it takes form. To speak words of faith when all looks dark is the highest use of spiritual law. When appearances deny your desire, and yet you continue to declare its reality, you become a spiritual warrior. You are not faking it, you are creating it. You are standing in the middle of the storm and commanding stillness. You are not describing the storm, you are rewriting the script. The world may call it denial, but it is truth in action. You do not deny the presence of facts, but you affirm the superiority of truth. And truth says you are supplied, protected, guided, and unstoppable, regardless of what your senses scream. The words you speak shape your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your world. There is no separation between inner and outer. The outer is only the echo of the inner. If you want to change your outer conditions, you must change your inner conversation. Begin to listen to yourself. Pay attention to the words you use daily. Are they words of victory or victimhood? Do they honor your divine source, or do they complain about man, made lack? Do they declare wholeness, or do they describe sickness? Every word is a prophecy. You are always prophesying your future by the sentences you repeat. There is no such thing as a neutral word. Every word leans either toward truth or illusion, faith or fear, increase or decrease. Words are the carriers of spiritual charge, and when you speak from your spirit, when your words are saturated with belief, they become like fire. They consume all resistance, they dissolve delay, they activate supply. There is no effort greater than speaking with faith when the world tempts you to agree with appearances. But if you persist, the world must bend. The law has no choice but to obey the soul who speaks from knowing. Do not say what you do not want to see. The law does not understand that you were just venting or just being honest. Honesty is not in reporting what already is. It is in declaring what spiritually is. Say not, I am so broke, even if your pockets are empty. Say instead, divine substance flows to me now. I am richly supplied. Say not, I'm always tired and sick, even if your body feels weak. Say, I am filled with divine vitality. Every cell radiates health. Your words plant the future. If you desire a new reality, plant a new vocabulary. Even when you feel unsure, speak the truth. Especially when you feel fear, speak the truth. The more you speak it, the more you believe it. The more you believe it, the more you see it. Faith comes by hearing, and what you hear most often shapes what you expect. If you repeat the same affirmations of truth daily, they begin to sink into your subconscious. They become part of your identity. You no longer have to try to believe them. They become automatic. And once a belief is automatic, the law moves swiftly to reflect it. Every area of your life can be transformed by the discipline of your speech. Your finances, your relationships, your health, your opportunities, all are subject to the words you consistently speak. Speak life to your money. Say, money comes to me from expected and unexpected sources. I handle it with wisdom. I give freely and receive freely. Speak peace to your relationships. Say, I am surrounded by love. Every relationship I engage in is harmonious, mutual, and uplifting. Speak increase to your work. Say, divine ideas flow to me. My work is a joy, and it opens doors to new realms of prosperity. You are the creator, not the reporter. You do not need to describe what is. You are here to declare what shall be. Many people speak of what they fear, thinking they are protecting themselves by being cautious. But the law does not reward fear, it magnifies it. The more you speak of danger, the more it seems to surround you. But when you begin to speak of divine protection, divine timing, and divine favor, the environment begins to shift. You begin to attract circumstances and people that reflect those words. You begin to walk in alignment with the spiritual forces that are always ready to help, but can only be activated by your agreement. Words can build bridges or walls. They can open doors or seal them shut. They can call in miracles or invite more of the same struggle. Every time you speak, ask yourself, what am I creating right now? What am I calling forth? What am I preparing to receive? Let no word go forth from your lips that you do not want to see appear in your life. Be so disciplined, so aware, so faithful in your speech that every sentence becomes a seed of greatness, joy, abundance, and peace. Your words also affect others. When you speak blessings over someone, you activate their good as well as your own. When you curse others with criticism, gossip, or judgment, you entangle yourself in that very energy. But when you lift others up with your words, even in their absence, you align with the highest spiritual principle of love, and love multiplies your power. Speak blessings on the stranger, on the friend, on the one who hurt you, on the one who helped you. Speak blessings over your city, your home, your body, your past, your future. Speak so many blessings that the universe cannot help but overflow your cup. You will be tempted to speak fear when things appear wrong. But this is your moment of power. This is when your word counts the most. This is when you must speak what you want, not what you see. Declare peace in the middle of chaos. Declare wealth in the presence of bills. Declare favor when others reject you. Declare healing when symptoms persist. These are not lies. They are higher truths. Spiritual truths override material appearances, and it is your word that lifts the veil between them. Your word is your wand, your creative command, your most powerful tool. No thought becomes a reality until it is spoken or felt with intensity. Once it is spoken, it is set in motion. Guard your words like treasure. Do not waste them on worry or complaint. Use them to create, to bless, to uplift, to build. Use them to call forth the world you desire, and keep using them until the world responds. It must. The law cannot return void what has been spoken in faith. And once you understand this, you will never again speak carelessly, never again prophesy defeat, never again allow the tongue to drag you into darkness. Speak only the words that align with the highest good. Speak them in faith, speak them in rhythm with the divine, speak them in peace, and speak them often. For the world around you is listening, and it is ready to take shape at the sound of your voice. Faith activates the unseen. Fear delays the seen. This is a law that never wavers, never fails, and never turns aside. It is a spiritual law, as constant and exact as gravity, as sure as sunrise. Faith is the signal that opens all channels, dissolves all blocks, moves mountains, and parts seas. It is not emotional hope, not desperate wishing, not nervous optimism. It is deep, anchored knowing, a calm assurance that what is unseen is more real than what is visible, and what is divine cannot be denied. Fear, on the other hand, is not merely an emotion. It is a creative force in reverse. It puts up walls, draws curtains over light, and reinforces the illusion of delay. It whispers limitation, and the law agrees. It is not punished, just obeyed. The law is impartial. It follows faith or fear without hesitation. Faith is not something you earn. It is something you accept. It is not a reward for holiness or years of effort. It is a divine gift, always available, always accessible, always within reach. It does not need to be proven. It needs only to be practiced. You do not wait for a sign to have faith. You have faith and the signs follow. You do not ask for evidence before believing. You believe and the evidence appears. This is the difference between spiritual power and human effort. Human effort says, let me first see, then I will act. Faith says, I will act and then I will see. Every step taken in faith collapses invisible walls. Every word spoken in faith shifts the tide. Every thought rooted in faith becomes the blueprint for a new world. Fear delays because it tells the universe, I do not trust. And where there is no trust, there is no permission. The universe waits on your permission. It does not force its good upon you. It does not intrude. It follows your lead. And if your lead is fear, if your words speak of dread, and your thoughts circle lack, and your posture vibrates resistance, then the good held in store must pause. Not disappear, pause. Faith opens the door, fear bars it. And yet the moment you shift even slightly, the tide shifts with you. You do not need to be perfect to begin. You need only to be willing. To understand the power of faith is to understand that the unseen realm is the origin of all form. Everything you see was once invisible. Every structure, every system, every invention, every dollar, every relationship, it all came from the unseen into the seen. Nothing ever began with form. It began with thought, with word, with energy. Faith operates in that realm. It knows that just because you cannot see, it does not mean it is not real. Faith reaches into the unseen and draws it into the seen. It does not ask how, it does not need when, it only says yes. Fear, however, focuses on appearances and forgets truth. It watches the bank account and forgets divine substance. It listens to reports and forgets divine protection. It measures conditions and forgets infinite supply. Fear believes the outer world has power, and so it submits to it. But nothing outside you has real power. All true power is spiritual and begins within. When you fear what you see, you feed it. When you have faith in what is unseen, you replace it. Fear magnifies delay because it ties the soul to limitation. Faith dissolves delay because it aligns the soul with divine speed. Faith does not require understanding. It requires decision. You choose to trust. You choose to believe the truth of divine order, even if chaos swirls around you. You choose to declare, it is done, even when the world says it is not. You choose to speak abundance when lack knocks loudly. You choose to declare health when symptoms are present. You choose to act as if the path is open, even when it looks closed. These are not delusions, they are declarations. The world is shaped by the one who dares to act on truth while others tremble at facts. Faith is the builder's tool. It does not waver. It lays brick upon brick, affirmation upon affirmation, until what was once invisible becomes undeniable. There is a stillness in faith that no fear can shake. It does not panic when bills come. It does not tremble when news breaks. It stands quietly and powerfully in the center of divine presence, knowing that all things are working together, even when they seem broken. That stillness is not weakness, it is supreme strength. It says, I know who walks before me, I know what law governs me, I know what belongs to me. And in that knowing, delays dissolve. Fear cannot thrive where faith is rooted. Fear requires agreement to live. It must be fed with repeated thought, confirmed with anxious words, and accepted as probable. Without this agreement, it withers. Faith starves fear. You do not overcome fear by fighting it. You overcome it by feeding faith. Speak the word of truth until it is louder than the inner critic. Declare your divine right until your whole being echoes with agreement. Act in the direction of what you believe, and the power of that action will grow. The more you act in faith, the more confidence builds. The more confidence builds, the more quickly the unseen becomes seen. Delay fades not because the external shifts, but because your frequency rises to meet the outcome. And once the match is made, manifestation is inevitable. Faith is not passive. It is not sitting back and hoping something happens. It is engaged, active, vibrant. It speaks boldly. It moves deliberately. It plans as if the promise is already fulfilled. It pays the bill before the money appears, not because it is reckless, but because it knows the law. It makes room before the gift arrives. It prepares the land before the rain comes. And the moment the preparation is complete, the provision arrives. This is not superstition. This is spiritual law in motion. Fear, on the other hand, clings, it waits, it hesitates. It refuses to move until the entire path is visible. And so it goes nowhere. It says, "What if?" and paralyzes action. It delays the seen because it mistrusts the unseen. And yet even fear is not a punishment. It is a choice. You can choose again. You can return to truth at any moment. You can say, "Though I feel afraid, I choose faith." And the law will respond. It does not hold grudges. It does not say, "You feared yesterday, so I will withhold today." It says, "You believe now, so I respond now." The moment you shift, reality shifts with you. The more you practice faith, the more natural it becomes. It becomes your first instinct instead of your last resort. You begin to speak faith before fear can enter. You begin to act before doubt can whisper. You begin to declare your good, while others still wait for proof. And as you do this, the delay that once haunted you vanishes. The opportunities come faster. The solutions appear smoother. The people show up quicker. Not because life suddenly changed, but because you finally aligned with its rhythm. Every time you choose faith, you move yourself into the flow of divine timing. You stop resisting, and you start allowing. You stop shrinking, and you start expanding. Fear closes doors, faith opens gates. Fear tightens your chest, faith breathes life into your being. Fear says, "What if it doesn't work?" Faith says, "What if it works better than I imagined?" One asks for permission from the world, the other grants permission from within. One builds walls of waiting, the other builds bridges of receiving. Your only true delay is your resistance. The moment resistance dissolves, the path becomes clear. That resistance is built from doubt, from fear, from old beliefs, from rehearsed disappointments. Faith burns through all of it, not with force, but with clarity, not with pressure, but with peace. And once the way is cleared, what you've been asking for, praying for, imagining, and affirming moves swiftly into your experience. Because it was never far. It was waiting, just beyond the curtain of disbelief, eager to be seen, eager to serve, eager to bless. You are not meant to live in delay. You are not meant to live in waiting rooms. You are meant to live in divine flow, divine rhythm, divine speed. But you must rise to meet it. You must believe before you see. You must trust before you touch. You must walk by faith, not by sight. The walk of faith is not without challenge, but it is always victorious. It is the only walk that leads to fulfillment, to freedom, to miracles made manifest. Even now you can decide, you can shift, you can replace the old declaration with a new one. You can speak the word with authority. You can look the storm in the face and say, "Peace, be still." You can call forth your supply. You can bless your current state. You can act in joy. You can walk in confidence. And in doing so, you cancel every delay. You lift every block. You speed every answer. Because faith activates the unseen. And when the unseen is activated, the seen must follow. It has no choice. It must obey the higher law. Divine supply is never withheld, only misaligned. The truth of spiritual law is that all things you need, desire, hope for, and long to experience are already established, already finished, already waiting in the realm of the unseen. There is no scarcity in the mind of the infinite. There is no shortage of love, no delay in opportunity, no lack of resources. What you call waiting for manifestation is never about something being withheld from you by a divine source. It is only about whether your inner state is aligned with receiving it. The moment alignment occurs, the supply appears, the door opens, the phone rings, the idea lands, the way becomes clear. Divine supply is constant, like the sun, always shining, always pouring itself out, always giving without discrimination or hesitation. The only question is whether the window of your consciousness is open to receive it. Alignment means agreement. It is the state in which your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, words, and expectations are all pointing in the same direction as the good you are asking for. If you ask for abundance but think thoughts of scarcity, feel emotions of fear, speak words of lack, and expect more disappointment, then your request is out of sync with your vibration. The supply has not vanished. The good has not been canceled. It is simply waiting for your full agreement. You cannot attract what you do not agree with. You cannot draw to yourself what you inwardly reject, resist, or doubt. The law does not punish, it mirrors. It shows you the reflection of your dominant state of being. Change the state, and the reflection changes instantly. To live in alignment with divine supply is to walk in peace regardless of appearances. It means you know, not just mentally, but vibrationally, that everything you need is on its way, or already here, even if it has not yet touched your senses. This inner knowing is not fantasy. It is the most grounded form of truth. The unseen is the cause, the seen is the result. When you stop worshipping results and start aligning with cause, you step into the creative flow. You stop asking, "Where is it?" and start declaring, "It is here now." You stop struggling to get and begin allowing to receive. There is nothing to chase. There is only something to match. Misalignment shows up in many ways: doubt, contradiction, negative speech, limiting beliefs, emotional resistance, unconscious fear. You may affirm divine supply in the morning, but talk about your lack all day. You may visualize abundance, but feel unworthy of receiving it. You may pray for a new opportunity, but secretly fear the change it would bring. These inner conflicts send mixed signals to the universal law of supply. And when signals are mixed, results are delayed, not denied, just delayed, just paused, just hovering in the spiritual realm, waiting for the full green light of your agreement. When your mind is full of how, when, and what if, you block the flow. Divine supply does not follow human logic. It comes through channels you never expected, through people you never planned, through timing that often surprises you. But it always comes through the law of alignment. Worry is not alignment, stress is not alignment, trying to force outcomes is not alignment. Alignment is calm, certain, receptive, surrendered. It is the space you enter when you no longer try to be your own source, but recognize the true source already knows your need and has already filled it. You align by accepting. You align by allowing. You align by releasing resistance. You align by trusting the rhythm of the invisible. You align by giving thanks before it arrives, knowing it already exists. Gratitude is one of the highest expressions of alignment. It says to the universe, "I know it's done." It shifts your vibration into receiving mode. You do not give thanks after manifestation. You give thanks to cause it. When you feel the truth of your desire being fulfilled even before you see it, you become the magnet. You no longer seek. You allow. You no longer struggle. You receive. There is a divine intelligence behind everything. It knows where you are. It knows what you need. It knows what you are ready for. It is never late. It is never absent. It is always perfect. Your job is not to control it, but to cooperate with it. You cooperate by staying in a state of inner harmony. You don't need to figure out the mechanics of manifestation. You don't need to chase signs. You don't need to beg, plead, or push. You need only to remain clear, open, and steady. When your inner climate is one of trust, the outer world reflects that harmony. If something appears delayed, ask not what is wrong with me, but where am I misaligned? This is not about blame, it is about awareness. Misalignment is not a failure, it is a signal. It tells you to pause, reflect, adjust. Perhaps your words have drifted into complaint. Perhaps your thoughts have wandered back to old patterns. Perhaps your energy has become tight with worry. These are not signs of punishment. They are invitations to return, to realign, to remember your true position as a receiver of divine supply. All supply is spiritual before it is material. Every dollar is first an idea. Every opportunity is first a vibration. Every miracle is first an acceptance. There is nothing you can see that was not first unseen. This is why the invisible is more important than the visible. When your inner world is aligned with truth, your outer world cannot help but reflect it. The changes may come subtly or suddenly, but they will come. You are not creating from scratch. You are receiving from the eternal, and the eternal is never lacking. Release the belief that there is not enough. The moment you believe in scarcity, you close the door on divine abundance. Scarcity is a human story, not a spiritual fact. The universe expands continually, not contracts. Your portion is secure, not because of what others do or don't have, but because it was established by divine right. You do not compete for it. You claim it. You do not chase it. You open to it. It is your inheritance, not your reward. But it can only be received when you believe in it enough to align with it. Alignment means becoming what you seek. If you want peace, you must embody peace. If you want abundance, you must think, speak, and act from abundance. If you want love, you must resonate as love. You cannot vibrate in fear and expect peace. You cannot hold on to resentment and expect harmony. You cannot rehearse stories of failure and expect success. Your inner state writes the script. When the script is consistent with your vision, the performance begins to match. The universe has already said yes to your highest desires. The divine has already provided. There is no need to convince it, only to agree with it. Your agreement is expressed through your feelings, your expectations, your declarations, your choices. Every day is a chance to bring yourself into greater alignment, not through striving, but through surrender, not through pressure, but through permission. When you let go of trying to fix, and instead allow yourself to align, supply flows effortlessly. It is not attracted through anxiety. It is attracted through attunement. You are never being tested. You are always being invited. The delays you perceive are not blockades. They are moments of preparation. Moments to refine your vibration, to deepen your faith, to clear your doubts, to trust more fully. The very thing you call a delay may be the exact experience that brings you into the alignment needed to receive the thing you asked for. The delay is not the universe saying no. It is your vibration saying not yet. The moment your vibration says yes, the manifestation rushes forward. Trust the process of alignment more than the process of effort. It is not how hard you work, but how clearly you believe. It is not how many hours you put in, but how much doubt you let go. Spiritual supply is not limited by your past, your background, your circumstances, or your current bank account. It is limited only by your alignment. The moment you correct that alignment, you open the gates, return to the truth that everything is already finished in the mind of the divine. The truth that your part is not to make it happen, but to let it happen by living in agreement with it. Agreement is not a mental statement. It is a full body vibration. It shows up in how you walk, how you speak, how you respond, how you expect. The more aligned you become, the more quickly and fully supply finds its way to you. Not from struggle, not from hustle, but from the deep realization that divine supply is never withheld, only waiting for you to open the door within. Stop speaking lack and start declaring abundance. Every word you speak is a seed cast into the fertile soil of the invisible, and whether you realize it or not, those seeds take root, sprout, and bring forth fruit in your outer world. The spoken word holds creative power. It is not merely communication, it is declaration. It is spiritual decree. When you say, "I can't afford it," you are not just describing a condition, you are commanding it to continue. When you say money never comes easily, you are not making an observation, you are writing a script. Your life obeys your words. You are always prophesying your future, either consciously or carelessly. So many people unknowingly hold themselves in bondage by rehearsing the language of limitation. They speak defeat before even trying. They announce fear before listening to wisdom. They declare confusion instead of clarity, hardship instead of grace, lack instead of abundance, and the law responds, not with judgment, but with precision. There is no such thing as an idle word. Every word is either a magnet for increase or a permission slip for struggle. And just as weeds grow without effort when you neglect a garden, words of lack grow rapidly when you are not vigilant over your speech. The moment you catch yourself speaking in the rhythm of scarcity, pause and reverse it. Declare the opposite. Speak the truth of the spirit, not the illusion of appearances. It may feel awkward at first. It may feel like a lie, but that is only because your mind is used to the sound of limitation. You have to retrain your verbal reflex. You have to choose abundance over agreement with lack, again and again, until the new pattern becomes your native tongue. To declare abundance does not mean denying reality. It means acknowledging a higher reality. It means looking beyond facts into truth, beyond situations into spirit, beyond what is into what is becoming. The truth is that abundance is your natural state. It is written into your divine DNA. It is not earned. It is not granted by effort. It is your birthright. And every time you say, I am blessed, I am provided for, all things are working in my favor, you are activating that truth. You are releasing the resistance that kept good from flowing. You are shifting the air around you, changing the current, recalibrating your vibration to match the rhythm of infinite supply. Words are like keys. They either lock the door or open it. Every sentence is a signal. When you say, I never catch a break, the universe says yes. When you say, everything I touch turns to gold, the universe says yes, not because it is judging between deserving and undeserving, but because it mirrors your dominant vibration. You are not punished for your words. You are shaped by them. They become the mold that forms your reality. If you want to change the form, change the mold. If you want new results, use new declarations. You must become aware of your speech, not only in moments of prayer or affirmation, but in everyday conversation. The jokes you tell about being broke, the sarcastic comments about never getting ahead, the self-deprecating remarks about your ability to succeed, these are not harmless. They are creative acts. They are minus bells you cast with your tongue. And while the effects may not be instant, they accumulate. They become energetic patterns that shape the circumstances you walk through. It is not about being fearful of speaking, but being faithful with your speech. Your mouth is an instrument of manifestation. Use it to bless your life. Use it to honor your worth. Use it to describe what you desire, not what you dread. If you don't want it, stop speaking it. Stop energizing it. Stop repeating it to others as if it were your destiny. Words have power because they carry belief, and belief is the engine behind manifestation. What you believe, you expect. What you expect, you attract. And what you attract becomes your experience. Some people speak lack because it is all they've ever known. They grew up hearing their parents complain about money. They heard teachers speak fear about success. They internalized the world's message that wealth is hard to attain and harder to keep. But now, you are not obligated to continue that lineage. You have the power to create a new language, a new atmosphere, a new relationship with wealth, not by striving, but by speaking abundance before you see it, declaring provision before you possess it, not because you are pretending, but because you are aligning with a deeper truth. The language of abundance is bold. It does not whisper, it proclaims. It does not beg, it claims. It does not shrink, it expands. It says things like, money flows to me freely. Opportunities are finding me now. I am always in the right place at the right time. Everything I need is already mine. These are not just pretty phrases. They are keys to your invisible storehouse. The more you speak them, the more your energy shifts, the more your emotions catch up, the more your expectations rise, and the more you begin to live in the feeling of having rather than the feeling of lacking. Feeling and speaking work together. When you speak abundance with conviction, you begin to feel its presence. When you feel its presence, you speak with more authority. It becomes a cycle of reinforcement, but the cycle begins with your choice, not with your circumstances, not with a windfall, not with a miracle. With your choice to speak differently, think differently, expect differently, Your current reality is not a sentence, it's a report, and the report can change the moment the script changes. Practice speaking abundance in the quiet of your room and in the middle of your day. Say it when things are flowing and say it when they're not. Say it when your bank account is full and say it when it's low. Do not let appearances dictate your declarations. Your words are not commentary. They are creative power. They are spiritual commands sent into the universe like arrows. They hit their mark when released in faith. Faith is the substance that gives your words their weight. Without faith, words are just noise. With faith, they are reality builders. You are not just a speaker, you are a creator. Every declaration you make is a step into alignment. The more consistent your speech becomes, the more stable your vibration becomes. You begin to build momentum. The tide turns. Things begin to shift in your favor, not because the universe suddenly noticed you, but because you finally stopped resisting your good with speech of lack. You finally started giving permission for blessings to land by affirming their presence rather than denying them. If you truly believed that divine supply was endless and freely flowing, how would you speak? You would speak as if the money were already coming. You would speak as if the client were already secured. You would speak as if the door were already open. That kind of speech is not fantasy, it is faith. And faith always pulls results from the invisible into the visible. You don't wait for the evidence to speak it. You speak it to create the evidence. Speak life. Speak overflow. Speak ease. Speak grace. Speak joy. Let every word be a signal to the universe that you are ready, open, and aligned. Replace every phrase of defeat with a declaration of power. Replace every limitation with a possibility. I can't becomes I choose. It's hard becomes it's happening. I don't know how becomes the way is being revealed. Speak not to describe your situation. Speak to design your situation. Your mouth is your tool, not your trap. Do not use it to reinforce the very conditions you are trying to escape. Use it to construct the reality you were born for. Others may not understand your new language. That's all right. You are not speaking for them. You are speaking for alignment. You are not performing. You are planting. You are not convincing. You are claiming. And over time, those who once mocked your affirmations will witness your manifestations. They will ask how you did it, and you will know. I stopped speaking lack and started declaring abundance. I stopped rehearsing limitation and started broadcasting overflow. I turned my mouth from a weapon of defeat into a channel of divine supply, and the law responded as it always does, faithfully, precisely, abundantly. Life flows through you, not to you. Claim your dominion. This is the sacred revelation that lifts the soul out of the illusion of dependency and into the awareness of divine authorship. You are not here to beg from life, nor are you here to passively wait for good to trickle down from some distant source. You are the source through which life expresses. The same power that created galaxies and oceans moves through you as thought, as desire, as intention, as word. Life does not arrive from outside, it emerges from within. You are not a container being filled. You are a fountain being activated. When you grasp this truth and stand in it boldly, you begin to claim your dominion not as a ruler over others, but as one who governs the world of cause with clarity, confidence, and conviction. Dominion is not domination. It is not force. It is not striving. It is the quiet, firm authority of one who knows who they are and what they are entitled to by divine law. You do not earn this dominion through merit or effort. It is your spiritual inheritance. It was given to you before you arrived in this body, and it waits only for your acceptance. To claim your dominion means to stop acting as if you are at the mercy of circumstances. It means you no longer dance to the tune of fear or chase approval to feel worthy. It means you decide with full assurance that you are not a victim of life, you are a vessel of life, and because life flows through you, You have the power to redirect its course with every thought you entertain, every feeling you nurture, and every word you release. Most people live as though life is happening to them. They react. They brace for impact. They pray for rescue. But the awakened soul understands. Life responds. It responds to the tone you set within. It mirrors your self-concept, your assumptions, your spoken decrees. If you see yourself as small, life will reflect limitation. If you expect delays, life will echo your waiting. But when you claim your dominion and say, I am the open channel through which divine life flows, everything changes. You stop trying to pull blessings from the outside and begin to release blessings from the inside. You stop waiting for something to happen, and you let it happen through you. Your dominion is activated through awareness. The moment you stop seeing yourself as separate from good and start seeing yourself as the vehicle through which good emerges, you shift from desperation to creation. You stop looking for signs and become the sign. You stop asking for permission and begin walking in your authority. There is no one outside of you more powerful than the divine within you. No condition, no economy, no circumstance can override what is flowing through you, unless you surrender your dominion by forgetting your source. You are not the source of supply, but you are the point of distribution. You are not the power, but you are the portal through which the power operates. To claim your dominion, you must first silence the internal dialogue that says you are helpless. That voice is not your truth. It is your training. You were taught to obey fear. You were taught to doubt your instincts. You were taught to wait for validation. But now you unlearn. You retrain your mind to hear the voice of your own authority. You remind yourself daily that you are connected to the infinite. You are not cut off. You are not behind. You are not late. You are in divine timing, and all that you need is already flowing through you, not to you. This shift in perspective is not cosmetic. It is transformational. It reorients you from passivity to power. Dominion is not loud. It is not boastful. It does not need to convince anyone. It simply is. It walks into a room and brings peace. It speaks with clarity and silence follows. It makes declarations, not requests. It decides and the universe rearranges. This is the dominion you carry when you stop seeking external power and begin living from your center. From this center, you create conditions rather than suffer them. You build your world rather than adapt to it. You bless your path rather than fear your future. The moment you say, life flows through me, you take the crown off circumstance and place it on your own soul. You dethrone the outer and enthrone the inner. You no longer make people, jobs, systems, or timelines your source. They are vessels, not origins. They are channels, not creators. The true creator flows through you, moves as you, speaks in your voice, acts through your hands. You are not empty. You are not waiting to be filled. You are already equipped. The life you seek is seeking to express itself through your agreement, your permission, your consciousness. To live from dominion means you take responsibility for your inner world. You no longer blame others for your emotional climate. You no longer assign power to what is outside. You decide what frequency you carry. You choose the tone of your day. You recognize that thoughts are not random. They are invitations. And you become selective about which ones you entertain. The thoughts of fear, worry, doubt, and lack knock on your door, but they do not have to come in. You invite only those ideas that reinforce your truth, your worth, your divine alignment. That is dominion. Dominion means you declare before you see. You speak the word not because the evidence is there, but because the essence is. You know that the invisible is more real than the visible, because the visible comes from it. So you stop reacting to what is and begin creating what is to be. You step into the unseen with trust. You speak things that are not as though they were, and by the law, they begin to form, not because you forced them, but because you flowed with them. Dominion is not a battle. It is a surrender to your original power. When you live in dominion, You begin to notice that what once took effort now arrives with ease. What once required pushing now responds to presence. You no longer need to hustle your way into visibility or compete for scraps. You walk in favor because you expect favor. You move in grace because you trust grace. You release the need to manipulate outcomes and instead align with outcomes already promised in the spirit. This kind of life cannot be manufactured from the outside. It is cultivated from within. It is the outpouring of a soul in alignment with its source. There is no limit to what flows through you when you stop blocking it with fear. Life does not flow through doubt. Life does not flow through resentment. Life does not flow through self-pity. Life flows through clarity, gratitude, expectation, and vision. These are the qualities that open the floodgates. These are the conditions of manifestation. When your heart is clear and your mind is anchored in truth, supply rushes in. Opportunities recognize you. Right people find you. Divine timing orchestrates for you. And it all begins not with striving, but with standing in your dominion, knowing that life is not outside trying to reach you. It is inside trying to release itself through you. This awareness is your power. This knowing is your wealth. This posture is your magnet. You do not need to beg for favor. You carry favor. You do not need to chase prosperity. You are prosperity in motion. The river is not upstream. It is within. The breakthrough is not in the distance. It is waiting for your agreement. Speak it. Claim it. Move as if it's already done. Live as if nothing is missing. Give as if nothing can run out. That is the energy of dominion. That is the vibration of one who knows their true standing. You have always had this power. You have always been this vessel. But now is the moment to recognize it, to remember it, to embody it. Let every cell in your being agree with the truth that life flows through you. Let every thought bend toward this reality. Let every word affirm your authority. You are not powerless. You are not waiting. You are not behind. You are aligned with the stream of divine life, and that stream never dries up, never detours, never denies. It simply waits for your yes to be the channel, your yes to be the example, your yes to be the light, your yes to claim your dominion and let it flow without restriction, without delay, without apology.